I was born on February 24th, 1955, in San Francisco. My name is Steve Jobs, and this is the story of me.
In addition to the big events in the technology industry, Apple also has shocking facts that you may not be aware of. In this video, we reveal these amazing facts to you. The company founded by two Steves, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, eventually became the largest electronics company of all time. According to the famous stories of the Silicon Valley, they first started their business under the name of Apple Computers and made computers in the garage of Steve Jobs' house, and then chose the name Apple Incorporation because they earned more money from making products other than computers. Today, people know Apple more for iPhones and iPads and MacBook laptops than for Macintosh computers, which helped the desktop system industry a lot. Of course, with the movies made about the life of Jobs and the Apple company, people have become more familiar with this company and its founders. Despite all these good and impressive stories, the Apple company also has bitter truths that may surprise you. In this video, we review 9 shocking facts about Apple. Stay with the Credit magazine. Number 1. Apple has a pit full of Lisa computers. It is really hard to find a failed Apple product, but it has happened in the past. One of these failures was the Lisa computer, which disappointed buyers with its high price and long delay in delivery to the customer. Apple tried to make up for this failure by producing the Lisa 2, but eventually decided to replace the line with the popular Macintosh computer. Therefore, Apple threw 2,700 of the remaining devices of non-customers into a landfill in the state of Utah. Number 2. The logo of the Apple company was reversed on the laptops. This is strange but true. In the 90s, Apple engraved its logo on laptops, but when the laptop door was opened, the logo was completely reversed. This was completely wrong, but Apple had an explanation that seemed reasonable, and that was that they said that users can easily find out which way the device opens. After Steve Jobs saw the Apple logo on TV and movies, he decided that it would be better to rotate the logo 180 degrees, because in any case the user buys the laptop and works with it a little and understands which way the device opens. 3. 6 US states still do not have an Apple store. Apple phones are everywhere. iPhone 12 is the best-selling phone of the year so far, April 2001. Apple tablets and laptops are among the best sellers in the market. With these interpretations, you might be surprised to hear that there are 6 states in America where Apple does not have any stores. Apple has focused on expanding its stores internationally, and the states of Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Vermont, West Virginia, and Wyoming have no stores. Number 4. Apple has made a game console called Pippin. Many electronic companies have made game consoles. You must have heard the names of PlayStation and Nintendo. Even Microsoft produces Xbox. Surprisingly, Apple tried to enter this market with a console called Pippin in 1996. At that time, everyone was trying to make a game console, and Apple faced a problem with this. This console was priced at $600 at the time, and Apple only sold 100,000 units, which is half of the consoles made. Number 5. The famous advertisement in 1984 was broadcast only twice on TV. Macintosh Pro is Apple's best-selling computer in the company's history. Macintosh is the beginning of Mac Apple computers. In fact, the name Macintosh has become so widespread that Apple has decided to name every computer or laptop it makes with the name Mac. All this fame started with the famous ad that aired on the night of 1983 and again during the 1984 Super Bowl. Number 6. Apple does not have a fair work system in China. The working conditions in the Chinese company Foxconn, which makes part of Apple's products, are unfair. Foxconn factory workers have little contact with the outside world. They work 15 hours a day, non-stop, and undergo rigorous trainings every morning. If one of the workers even yawns while working, his salary will be confiscated. The workers of this factory receive very little salary. For this reason, several of them tried to throw themselves from top of the building in 2010. Number 7. Apple uses child labor. The low wages and terrible working conditions seems bad enough, but worse than that is child labor. In 2010, it was revealed that 91 children were employed in factories in China to make Apple products. Again, in 2012, it was found that 106 children work in these factories. Of course, this issue does not end only with Apple, and there are other big companies that use child labor. In 2016, it was revealed that a Chinese company called Hayo Cobalt, located in the Democratic Republic of Congo, employed 17 local children between the ages of 9 and 17 to mine the cobalt used by Apple. Number 8. Cooperation with the National Security Agency. In 2013, The Guardian and the Washington Post published documents from the National Security Agency that showed Apple was on a list of companies working with PRISM. According to the leaked documents, the National Security Organization has direct access to the servers of the mentioned companies, and this information has been being collected for years before the publication of these documents. It should be noted that Apple has announced that it is completely unaware of the existence of such a program. Number 9. Apple has negative technological habits. In 2018, investors, JANA Partners, and the California State Teachers Retirement System wrote a letter to Apple asking them to accept more responsibility regarding the unintended negative consequences that iPhone may have on young users, and look for new ways to limit these effects. After that, Apple added a new feature in iOS called Screen Time to warn users of excessive phone usage, prompting JANA Partners and Keisters to write to Apple again and support it. Number 10. The market value of Apple is greater than the gross domestic product of 25 countries in the world. Apple's revenue is more than the GDP of Ecuador, Libya, Iraq, and many other countries. Number 11. Apple has more than 140,000 employees worldwide in 2020. Number 12. Apple earned $691,234.57 per minute in early 2021. Number 13. Every iPhone ad is shown at 9:41 a.m. when Steve Jobs unveiled it in 2007. If iPhone, you can check this point. Number 14. The most valuable brands in the world are Apple, Google, Microsoft, and Amazon. Recently, Apple has surpassed Google as the most valuable brand in the world. Number 17. Out of every 3 engineers in Apple, 1 is Indian. It is no secret that Indians make up a large part of Silicon Valley. As a result, 1 out of every 3 engineers in the company is Indian. Number 18. iPad does not have a calculator program. Jobs apparently disagreed with the calculator app on the iPad, even weeks before it was released in 2010. Number 19. Getting into Harvard University is easier than finding a job at Apple. In 2009, Apple announced that more than 10,000 people had applied for a job at a new Apple store in Manchester, but only over 200 people got the job, about 2%, while Harvard University acceptance rate is 7%. Number 20. Currently, Apple is one of the biggest directors of the computer industry. Number 21. The price of the first Apple computer was $666.66. Number 22. If you bought 100 shares of Apple for $22 in 1983, your dividend today would be $600,000. Number 23. Ridley Scott was the director of Apple's famous teaser in 1984, introducing the Macintosh computer. He is also the director of the Martian movie. Number 24. The rivalry between Steve Jobs and Bill Gates first started in 1983, when Microsoft guaranteed Macintosh software after Microsoft created its own Windows. Number 25. In the 80s and 90s, as Mac sales continued to decline, Apple made digital cameras like the Apple QuickTake. Number 26. In fact, in 1997, Apple's financial conditions were so bad that the CEO of Dell, Michel Dell, one of Microsoft's biggest collaborators, said that if I were Steve Jobs, I would close the entire company and return to the shareholders' money. Number 28. The I in iMac in 1998 is for Internet because it originally only took 2 steps to connect to the web. This letter also stands for innovation. Number 29. According to Forbes magazine, the value of Apple in May 2017 was equal to $170 billion. Number 30. Many people buy Apple products because of class and social rank. Number 31. The second Apple product was named Apple II, which was launched in 1977. In it, color graphic cards and storage based on cassettes were used. Its price was $1,300 at the beginning. Finally, production was stopped in 1993, and during these years, nearly $6 million of Apple II were sold. Number 32. The founder of Apple, Steve Jobs, had to leave the Apple company in 1985. He helped to establish a computer company called Next and the animation company Pixar. After a few years, Apple bought Next, and as a result, Steve Jobs returned to Apple. Number 33. The first iPad could hold about 1,000 songs, worked only with Macintosh computers, and cost $399. Number 34. The first iPhone was introduced in 2007. The original version was priced at $499, and people lined up to buy it. Number 36. In 2014, Apple was so successful that in the first 4 months, its revenue was more than Amazon, Google, and Facebook combined. Number 37. Apple has about $150 billion in excess capital that can buy companies like Netflix, Twitter, and Facebook. Number 38. The first Apple logo was a picture of Isaac Newton, the father of physics. Number 39. Early on, Wozniak had to sell his scientific calculator to finance Apple. Number 15. The creator of iPod first presented this idea to Philips and Rail Networks, but they failed to see its great potential. Number 16. The value of Apple is more than the entire Russian stock market. Number 27. One of Steve Jobs' first actions as CEO was to ban pets on Apple's campus. In return, he gave the employees better food in the cafeteria. Number 35. In 2007, Apple started to create a connection between iPhone and MacBook, which was called iPad. The first iPad cost $499. Number 40. Apple was the first company to make color cameras. Number 41. The name of iPod comes from the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. Number 42. Currently, Apple is the largest company that is traded on the American Stock Exchange. Number 43. Apple can give every American $490. Number 44. If Apple were a country, it would be the 27th largest country, something between Venezuela and Belgium. Number 45. In 2011, the iPhone accounted for 40% of Apple's total revenue, which means that in 12 months with the production of the iPhone, Apple's revenue was roughly equivalent to its previous 10 years. Number 46. Despite having a net worth of $7 billion for the past 15 years with Apple, Steve Jobs only received $1 to be eligible for the company's health benefits.